listeners. Welcome to another episode of Open World Chat, where we talk all things geeky or potentially all things geeky with that progressive bent, and maybe we try to fill your head with some intellectual psychobabble, but that's what we do. And that's how we elevate you, the listener, to another level. So I'm John Odom. I'm here with Mark Card. Mark, how you doing?
Yes, the role of Mark Card today will be played by Barry White. I have a
Oh, that's
cold.
right. You're sick.
Well, I wouldn't call it sick, but
No, no.
I do have a cold, and a cold always gets into my voice, always, every single time.
Well, I have to throw this one up to post tomorrow. So if there's too much coughing, it's getting left in, folks. Deal with it.
Yeah, I have a mute buff, a cough button. I'll make sure I use it.
Oh, there you go. There you go. It's realism is what it is and what we're doing.
Yes.
Well, today we got an interesting topic today. We're gonna look at movies that flip genres on you. And that may sound like it doesn't make sense, but almost like you're watching two different movies. Now, we're not talking about plot twists here. We're not going to have like M. Night Shyamalan stuff.
Yeah.
Talking about real genre changes. And I don't know, Mark, I had a really hard time with this. And I'll explain why in a second, but I want to know how it went for you.
Well, I think a lot of these are um, debatable as to whether or not they actually achieve a complete genre change or if it's a big enough uh, plot twist for it to be called that. So we might have some controversy here.
This is exactly the problem I was having. I actually suggested we have this conversation because I was thinking of two movies in particular that just sort of blow my mind that way. And we'll get to them because I think we're going to sort of walk through probably what we usually do from our strongest feelings about it to the biggest and best.
Oh, yeah.
And so my top two were like, these blow my mind. They blow my mind. So there's got to be more out there. But yes, I started finding degrees. So you
Yeah.
get down to I got a lot of honorable mentions and things that are similar but are different. So you get down farther on my list, and I scraped up about eight with some honorable mentions again that I want to more mention because they're almost like it, but they're different. But yeah, so the bottom, numbers eight, number seven, number six, I feel less strongly about. Seems less clean than one and two.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I don't know if you found the same kind of thing, but
All right.
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't really do this by ranking, but it doesn't make any difference. It's fine. Um, I'm going to hit what I think is probably the second. I'll start if you don't mind.
Oh, go
I think
for
I'm
it.
going to
Yeah.
start with, I think, which is actually the second in modern cinema of a complete genre change. And that's the movie, Ingmar Bergman movie, Virgin Spring.
Oh, I do not know it. Tell me.
Well, this is something we had to see the first semester at Berea in Issues and Values course. So, The Virgin Spring is a Swedish movie, and you've actually seen it, but you just don't know you've seen it. It's a Swedish movie about a girl who grows up in rural Sweden. It starts out that her parents are putting her on a very small horse, and she's wearing her best dress, and she's going on a religious pilgrimage. She's going to a town to become, I believe it's a nun. And along the way, she meets some travelers, and she's by herself on her horse, and her travelers attack her and they rape her. And then she escapes.
Hmm.
And then they catch her again and kill her.
Yeah. So we weren't going, I spit on your grave here. We were sort of walking that direction, but
Well, we're not quite there yet. Um, uh, so what happens then? These guys are scared to death because they're afraid they're going to get caught. So they run away and they run upon a farmhouse and seek refuge in the farmhouse.
Mhm.
And then they say they were attacked and they need refuge. Well, what happens in the course of them staying with this couple on this farm is the couple finds out that it was their daughter they killed, raped and killed.
Ah.
And so now the couple take bloody, murderous revenge on the gang that raped and murdered their daughter.
Hmm.
Does this sound like a modern horror movie?
Well, like I say, the first thing it made me think of was I Spit on Your Grave, but
It
it didn't
didn't,
end
yeah.
up going that way.
So it's not that one. There's
Hmm.
another one that came out about the same time. It was Wes Craven's first movie,
That I should know.
Last House on the Left.
Okay. Oh, right, right. Okay.
So this is actually Wes Craven, The Last House on the Left, is his retelling. It's his reboot of The Virgin Spring.
Hmm.
And he says that in every interview about this movie. This is actually him deciding he wanted to make that movie into a modern horror movie. And if you listeners don't know the movie Last House on the Left, in the 2000s, the late 2008, 2009, maybe 2011, they did a remake of this. And what people have to understand is that this is 1973 or 1974. This is this is a movie that was banned in many, many, many countries because I think it's arguably one of the first slashers ever made.
Hmm.
I mean, there are some brutal scenes in this movie. Um, and it was banned. You couldn't see, even in the United States, you could not see the original version almost anywhere. And it wasn't until the early 2000s that they were able to get an entire version of the movie cut together so they could show it. So many copies had different things cut out for different countries. So this is the reason why it's a genre bending movie. It starts out as a bucolic pastoral movie about a girl going on a pilgrimage.
Hmm.
And then, of course, it drastically changes when she's raped and murdered. And then it drastically changes again. So it goes from bucolic pastoral movie to murder film to revenge film.
Hmm.
Now, I say that it's a kind of one of the earliest examples of this because there's another one that's always in this list, which was just released a few months earlier.
Oh,
Can
few
you guess
months.
which one? They were both released in 1960.
Oh, wait. We may be going to, are we still talking slasher here?
Yep,
Yep, yep. I don't know the year, but one on my list is Psycho. Are we going to
that's
Psycho?
right.
Yeah.
And
Psycho, yeah.
Psycho appeared first by only a
Hmm.
few months. So do you want to talk about Psycho? You can talk about Psycho.
Yeah, no, let's both talk about Psycho. Psycho is it's not a sort of knock you in the head, but it is like two sep completely different movies. It has that completely different movie effect, much more than you'll see even in a lot of the things that I would consider stronger genre flippers.
Right.
But it's a sidestep. It's more of from a
Mhm.
drama, a sort of almost emotional. You're getting the beginning of an emotional sort of character study drama. And then you step sideways very suddenly into psychological slasher pick.
Yeah.
And, arguably the movie that defined that genre.
Well,
Yeah,
what's
no,
it?
that's a
What?
great example. That's like I say, it was on my list. It's a terrific example.
Yeah. So both of these, I think, are early versions of the genre flipper.
Hmm.
Um, I do think there could be an argument made for Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. I don't know why that one didn't occur to me. I think you're right.
I really do think there's a good because it starts out as a Depression era, uh, a bit like It's a Wonderful Life. Oh my God, we're not going to have the money to pay for the farm. It's kind of a Depression financial farmers versus bankers story. Now, the interesting thing about this movie is that it's not just a genre flipper in uh, type of movie. It's also the first movie to have any color in it.
Right.
So you've got this Depression era farmers versus bankers kind of thing. And then it goes way off into a whole different thing, a whole fantasy movie. And just to make that genre flipper more obvious, you end up with a wildly colored, fantastic, crazy world. It's in color.
You know, you are absolutely right. And Wizard of Oz should have occurred to me, but you're right.
And,
It
and
doesn't.
so,
It is two different movies, and not just because of the color, but that really, I mean, that obviously delineates the movies, but they are like different movies.
yes, I mean, and for me, I didn't even think about this, but this is really the earliest one, I think.
Hmm.
I really think that's the earliest genre flipper. And that just occurred to me as we were talking. And this is what I like about doing this kind of podcast. Um,
Wasn't on your list either, huh? That's funny.
no, but see, Psycho, and the reason why I think Psycho is more, I don't know. I was going to say Psycho might be more important as a genre flipper because uh, it really got major attention for this flip.
Hmm.
Um, Psycho is a movie that's kind of unlike any other in terms of the public conscience. This
Hmm.
is a real mainstreaming of serious horror writing, I think.
Yeah.
Before you had Frankenstein and you had Dracula and you had the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but I don't think those were really horror the way Psycho is.
No, I think
The
you're
thing
right.
for me that makes Psycho super scary is, oh yeah, this happens all the time. I mean, people who have these kinds of serious psychological problems, these kinds of serious mental illness, this is this compared to, uh, being carried off in a tornado into a world that's all color. The scary thing about Psycho is there are people who have these mental illnesses and they do go on murderous rampages.
Yeah. It's
So,
yeah.
but
The
anyway, I want to go back to the Virgin Spring and
Sure.
but I think the Virgin Spring is a great example of that. And it gets even weirder because after they've killed the 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 gang which rapes and murders their daughter, he goes to bury his daughter, and the title refers to he when he pulls her off the site where she was murdered, a huge spring wells up and starts flowing.
Mm.
And so it's kind of it kind of has serious religious notes too at the end of that movie. And so it's just a really profound version of this kind of genre flipper. And it's a little unusual because it's a Swedish movie. And I doubt very many Americans have actually seen The Virgin Spring, but a whole lot of people have seen The Last House on the Left.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, so I'm going to step back. It's funny. I'm going to step back to Psycho for a minute,
Yeah, I do.
just as a stepping stone, because the number two on my list, like I said, that I think the first two were the ones that I knew that I had in my head that inspired me to that
Mm-hmm.
that we should do this. So I'm going to be jumping around here too, because if we're talking Hitchcock, I think one of the biggest, if not the biggest, genre flipper movie, if not for my number one ever, is The Birds.
Yeah. And see, we've had
Birds is crazy. The Birds is what they used to call screwball comedy with these two, people, different worlds. The woman's kind of a snot and the guy's all cool. And they're gonna get together, but they don't. And she goes off on the vacation and he's like, well, I'm gonna go too. And it's all going like that. And then on a dime, you're in the apocalypse.
yeah.
And there are very few movies that will take not just a genre flip, but two genres so far apart from each other, and they don't even give it to you gradually. Hitchcock puts you from one full scale into the other one, something that should not work in a movie,
Yeah.
and it works so well. That movie is so scary.
Yeah. And you and I had a conversation about this movie, and that never even occurred to me about the movie. I mean, I had to go back and rewatch it to see just how abrupt and how complete that change is.
Hmm.
It's really fast. And and it creeps up on you a little bit because you have this kind of small gathering of birds, and then he cuts, and then there's this massive gathering of birds around
Mhm.
her. And so it's not it is not something that you're going to catch uh, at the beginning, but by the time that scene is over, you can understand why they are in full blown panic at the end of the movie.
Yeah, yeah. I that's we've talked about perfect movies where you don't change a thing. I would just about put that in there for my list, except for the two leads. The chemistry between them is terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Well, Hitchcock put Tippi Hedren in that because he was crazy over her.
hmm Well, she was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just the chemistry. I guess I was about to say she was fine, and she was, but oh God, those two. No, they
Yeah.
would.
Well, his obsession with women who looked a certain way often uh, overrode his cinematic instinct, I think, which is crazy because, his cinematic instincts were the best on the face of the earth. So,
Yeah, he needed an editor.
but
I'm
yeah,
gonna say it. I'm
he
gonna say
really
it
had a
out
type.
loud. I don't care who gets mad. Hitchcock needed editing. He was a genius, but he needed editing. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, listen, I'm with you. What's interesting to me is in fiction, when you get an author who's written some giant blockbuster, millions of copies sold, and then his next or her next novel is still a giant bestseller and lots of things, and lots of copies sold. And then they do a third or a fourth. And the interesting thing to me is as they go on, their books get thicker and thicker and thicker and worse and worse and worse. And the reason why is a lot of these people, the guy who comes in to mind about this the most is Tom Clancy.
Hmm,
They begin to think that, hey, I'm the one who writes these books, and they're these giant successes. And so I don't need an editor anymore.
right.
So, yeah, I agree with that. I think there are some problems with Hitchcock's movies in terms of editing.
Yeah.
I think he probably believed nobody could edit it the way he wanted to do it. So he's not going to do much editing at all. It's his vision. Why would I need to edit it?
Right, exactly. And you're right, that is a problem. Usually a problem when actors start doing it. But
Well, I think that could be a problem with any person who's extremely successful in a field. They begin to think that, they know everything and they can
yes.
do everything, even though most of the arts, even when you look at writing novels, it's a collaborative effort. Most people don't write novels, especially in the modern period, and nobody edits them.
hmm
You've got editors, you've got publishers, you've got the people, you've got the lawyers who clear illustrations and references and those kinds of things. So it's kind of they're collaborative processes. And when
Yeah.
you start to think that you're the only one who can produce this stuff, then you might get in trouble.
That's
There
true.
might be some visual artists where that's not true, but in general, if you're making a movie, a book, some kind of work like that, it's going to be a collaborative process no matter what you do.
Yep, yep. It's supposed to be too. So what else was on your mind? What jumped at you?
Yeah, let's just throw another one at you. And this is a one we're out of genre that we usually talk about here, but I think it's a great example. And that's the Disney movie Up.
Up. It is like two different movies.
It's
Right?
completely two different movies.
Yeah.
One of them's a short and one of them's a feature.
Uh-huh.
The short is the first 20 minutes of the movie where you establish this young couple that has this beautiful life and they're always walking up this hill. And then one day the woman falls down on the way up the hill. And at the end, spoiler alert, she dies.
Mhm.
Like Bambi's mother, like everybody else's mother in a Disney movie, she dies suddenly and unexpectedly. And then the old guy is the widower is there without his wife, and somebody knocks on his door. So you might consider it a single movie in terms of uh, uh, the first part just being an introduction to the character, and
Mhm.
then the second part being so the first part is beginning of his life, and then uh, tragedy, and now he's got the second part of the movie is how does he recover from this tragedy? But
Yeah,
I really think it is a genre flipper
it
because
is more than that. You're right. It is more than that.
it's a sad kind of melodramatic thing at the beginning, and it's about a lovely couple who are very close to each other, and it's about how grief and tragedy can just hit you very hard,
Mhm.
very fast, and leave you without any moorings, leave you completely lost. And at this point, the old guy, I can't think of the actor's name. Uh,
Oh, it was Ed Asner, wasn't it?
yeah, Ed Asner.
Yeah.
Ed Asner is so lost that he doesn't realize they're going to demolish his house and build a giant city around him.
Hmm.
And he can't make any decisions because he doesn't want to leave the place where he had this relationship with this lovely woman.
Hmm.
And one day, this Boy Scout knocks on his door, and his entire life changes. And it's a really beautiful tribute to how, even in a bad situation like this, you can change your life, you can make it better, you can recover from this kind of stuff. And I think it's more than just a plot twist. And we're going to talk about this, just like in The Wizard of Oz, you get a completely different visual style from the first part of the movie to the second.
Hmm.
And I just think this is a good, strong candidate for a real genre flipper. I just think it's done so well, you don't see it.
Hmm. Well,
But
and just structurally too, sort of regardless of genre. I mean, the way you talk about the structure, the second part of the movie is almost like a sequel. I mean, the first part is like a standalone film. You're right. And they are
it really is a standalone film. It's a
Mhm.
short film,
Yeah.
but it's a standalone film. I mean,
Yeah.
these people are doing what they do, and it is a completely different tone. It's a completely different story. It's a completely different theme, and the two are related, but they're different. So I think that's a good example of that. And I think what I like about this movie is that even kids recognize this.
Hmm.
Even kids understand it's really about two completely different parts of life. There's the part where you're young and in love, and everything seems great, and it seems like this is going to go on forever, and then wham, unexpectedly, your life is gone. And the second part is about two people who are kind of really lost. The kid who's a Boy Scout, he's kind of lost too. You see that, and his mother is worried about him and it wants him to get out and meet friends and do stuff. And these two men, or these two males, come together and they work to heal each other's lives. And I just think it's a very nice movie.
Yeah, it's a beautiful movie.
But it's a big genre flipper. I mean, it fits this category very well.
Yeah. I'm going to mention one that you introduced me to that I had not even heard of. I was not aware of. And I think it's a genre flipper. It's not quite as cleanly successful, in my
Mhm.
opinion, but I really did enjoy the movie, and I do think it's a good film. And that's the Academy Award winner for Best Short at the 97th Oscars in 2025. You know where I'm
Yeah.
going? You introduced me to it. You know it?
Yeah. Oh, sure. I am not a robot.
I'm Not a Robot. Yeah, which was it's a Dutch movie. And I looked up the director because I want to give her a shout out here, Victoria Warmerdam. Warmerdam. God, jeez, that's embarrassing. And it starts off as very light and silly, where the main character is, checking off. God, it's so hard to talk about these things sometimes without wondering whether we should give away spoilers. But I'll say, and maybe I should really watch it with this one in particular, because it's
I think
not
so. Yeah.
most people have
It
seen.
would be very easy to ruin this movie.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not even gonna go into it. So this will be just a quickie that I'm throwing out there. But it starts off very silly. It's funny. You're chuckling. The The timing, the comic timing is
Well,
great. It's
it,
fun.
it, it
And
starts off like an episode of The Office,
it kind of does.
where
I
you're
wouldn't have
really
thought it that way, but that's
frustrated
an
that
interesting
this one
comparison.
thing at the office goes wrong, and you're really, really frustrated with it, and you try and you try and you try and you try and you try, and you just can't resolve it.
Mhm. But, before you know it, it's actually more of a drama about identity. And it's interesting. I mean, it does both very well. I don't know
It's
that
all
it makes the transition as well as it could, but it also wasn't working with much time. It is a short. And I really liked it. And I'm really glad you told me I should watch it because I'm very glad I did.
well. Shout out to my friend Brian McCarthy, who convinced me to go watch. It happens about this time every year, maybe a little bit later. Uh, they will do a national tour where you see the 4 or 5 Oscar nominated live action short nominees in one sitting.
Mhm.
And these movies have to be under 20 minutes. And they showed 4 or 5 of them, and all of them were great. But boy, this is an astonishing movie. It shows you just how much you can do with a film in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And,
it's true.
and not only does it turn into this serious drama, it does what I love about lots of science fiction. It forces you to look at your actual reality through the lens of this hypothetical.
Mhm.
And there are some very serious philosophical questions in this 20-minute movie, and they handle all the perspectives of this pretty well.
They do. They do in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
But the one thing about big questions like that is they are big questions. There's a real, I mean, you can put them out there in a film and really mine into it and bring the viewer with you and really, express some things, maybe educate the viewer, maybe educate yourself while you're developing the film. But they're also big enough questions you can put them there and sort of sit them there. And you're still going to get a really full, really interesting experience without necessarily the kind of heavy guidance that something like Inception or something would give.
Yeah, it's
And
not
this really
pedantic.
does. It puts it out there and it feels like it has that depth, even though it isn't, well, like something like Inception dragging you around the movie maker's
We talked
brain.
about the problem with Inception. Problem I have with Inception is at least 4 times in the movie, they review the entire plot of what they intend to do. It's okay. Now everybody make sure we're going to do this. We're going to do this. There's just too much exposition.
Yeah,
And
it's the kind of movie it's really tough not to have it. That's a
I
real
understand, but
conundrum. Yeah.
I think Nolan violates the show don't tell here.
Yeah. I can see that. Totally.
Anyway, that's a digression. This movie, I'm Not a Robot, is brilliant.
Yeah.
This lady has an incredible future in filmmaking just based on this 20-minute entry. She
Well, there's
deserved that award. Usually, I think, there's some other stuff going on with the Academy Awards. But in the short category, I think there's some some real recognition of talent here.
yeah. Yeah. Well, what you got for me now? Because I know the next one I want to go into, but I just did one. So, what jumps to your mind next?
Oh, I don't want to do that one next. I want to save that. Hey, let's talk about a movie I think really didn't get enough attention, and because we're science fiction geeks, we know this movie, but I think a lot of people out there ought to be watching this movie more closely, and that's 10 Cloverfield Lane.
That's really interesting because I looked at that when I decided not to put it on my list, but it was just it was on the maybe list for me,
Yeah,
and it
this
didn't
is
make it to me. But it's interesting that you say that. And yeah, it was a terrific movie. It was well received by critically, by audiences. Just not enough people saw it.
yeah, and it so I'm going to give the audience just a short synopsis of the plot. Essentially, Mary Elizabeth Winstead,
Who
that
I
would be Ramona
love, who doesn't
Flowers.
get enough work. I adore
Yeah,
her.
yeah, that would be Ramona Flowers.
Right.
Um, she wakes up with a broken leg, and she is in a basement, and it's John Goodman's basement. And he said, "You were in a car wreck, and I saved you." and you can't leave because there are aliens out there. There's been a giant, horrible invasion. And I'm in a bunker. The guy's a prepper, doomsday prepper. He's got everything you need. He's got a ventilation system. He's got food. He's got entertainment. He's got everything. There's another guy there with him, the guy who helped him design and build the bunker. And basically, for the first half of the movie, you think it's a science fiction thing. Then you gradually, slowly begin to understand that John Goodman is not the good Samaritan you think he is. And you begin to find out that you're not the only girl that he may have kidnapped. And you're thinking that there might be some more to the story here. And so then the movie flips from, we're in a bunker. This guy might just be crazy telling me that there's an alien invasion or a nuclear war or some kind of apocalypse. And he might just be telling me that to keep me here.
Mhm.
Then the rest of the movie is how does the character, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, get out? And I'm not going to spoil this movie because you will see that there's some information out there that wasn't so good, and there's some information out there that was real good,
Yeah.
and the movie changes. It
Well,
really, yeah. I think this one is on the bubble
mhm.
because I think it's kind of more of a plot change. But if you look at kind of, and this may be the filmmaker's fault, I don't think anybody purposely sets out to make a genre flipper, but
Mhm.
and they might, but I think most of these are just kind of the way the film develops as you're producing it.
Mhm.
Um, but I think this is on the bubble because it's hard to distinguish between, in this case, plot twist and genre change.
Yeah.
And I think it's subtle, but I think it's there.
Yeah. And great film if you haven't seen it, if you're listening.
It really
Great
is. The
film.
suspense, what happens is you get two or three peaks of suspense. So you get something and it work up and work up and work up, and then bam, it resolves. And then things change and you start to be at this other super tense situation, and it ratchets up and you think it's just going to be a slow burn and you're going to get this plot reveal for the whole thing. So now you can see the whole plot from start to finish, and bam, it resolves again. And then there's the third one, which I cannot tell you about, but it is a big one.
Yeah. It's the third
It
one
is
that I
a
think of,
really big one.
really.
And the other thing I think which qualifies this as a plot flip, as a genre flipper, we need a better word for that, by the way,
Say it 10 times real fast. Jennifer,
is
Jennifer.
the other thing is her character really makes a big change in this movie. The character which ends the movie is not the same person at all.
Hmm.
She really undergoes a serious transformation because of what happens to her in the bunker, and she is not the same person. So I think that genre flipping is exhibited in the actual film itself and in the character.
So, the next one I want to talk about is a pretty meaty one. It was actually down on my list because it felt like it was on the bubble somewhat too, but I think it was on the right side of the bubble. Um, Before I get to it though, you want to take a minute for a shout out to the movies and TV that aren't genre flippers, but that have two parallel genres going on at the same time.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't really think I looked at very much of that.
Oh, I didn't either. Just that what happened is that some of the bubbles, the bubble ones
Yeah.
that were in my head, I'm like, they didn't really flip. They were also genius though, because they were two genres going on at the same time. And that was cool. So I want to do a shout out to them.
Yes, please. Yeah.
The big ones that really jumped into my head that seemed like the obvious ones. And forgive me if you thought this one belonged on the other side of the bubble or one of them, but that's all the television, straight up television, generally drama, but there was a comedy musicals.
What is it?
Like the Buffy musical, the Star Trek
Oh,
Strange New
yeah.
Worlds
I
musical.
think you're right. I think Yeah, I really like those episodes. I
Mhm.
mean, even Drew Carey did an episode.
Scrubs did an episode. Xena
Yep.
had an episode. Xena had two, actually.
Yes, Xena did too. That's right.
And then the other ones that I think do two at the same time that I would just want to throw out there is the movie and then the series Alien Nation, where it's a buddy cop movie with aliens in Los Angeles who have come down and they're trying to integrate them into society. So a buddy cop movie and alien movie, beginning to end, it's the same combination. So there's no flip. And then there are a few Doctor Who's that do this too. The one that I want to focus on is the Unicorn and the Wasp, which was the one with, I'm not focusing, I'm just throwing them out there real quick, with Agatha Christie, where it was like an Agatha Christie story and a story about, it was Doctor Who, right? So there were aliens that were giant wasps. But, anyways, I just wanted to give a shout out to a bunch of those because they're not what we're talking about, but they somehow deserved an honorable mention, I think.
Yeah, and the musicals are particular genius because they show just how important the musical genre is in American film.
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of stuff was groundbreaking about musicals. I mean, really, but we've already talked about one genre flipper that's a musical the whole time.
It's true.
The Wizard of Oz.
Hmm.
The Wizard of Oz is a giant uh, musical,
Yep,
and yet it still manages. That movie has a lot going on. It
it
still
does.
manages to uh, genres. So, and I really think, I think in the case of Wizard of Oz, they meant to do that.
Hmm.
I really do think they meant to make two separate movies in the same film. But yeah, I love those guys, the people who put musical stuff. And I have to give I will tell you right now, Joss Whedon is a terrible human being. He just is. He just is. He's a terrible human being
Uh-huh.
who created some pretty phenomenal art. Um, and for those of you who are now thinking, "Oh my God, how can this guy say this? How can this guy not separate um, artist and art?" I just have to keep hammering this point that Will Wheaton made in an essay that he wrote on his blog. He said, "Look, arts are collaborative, and if a particular piece of art helped you get through a problem or deal with a situation or become a better human being, then you focus on the other people who helped create that art." So I'm not going to have that discussion. I
Yeah.
think he was a terrible person, but I think he created some incredible art. And
Well, I'm
the
a.
reason why I just brought this up is uh, that episode of Buffy works as a standalone musical.
Mhm.
And so much so, one of Joss Whedon's biggest idols is Stephen Sondheim.
Mhm.
And uh, after that episode aired, Stephen Sondheim sent him a letter and said, "Congratulations, this is great work."
Yeah.
And so that takes real artistry
Yeah.
to turn something like a situation comedy like uh, Drew Carey
Uh-huh.
or a science fiction show like Star Trek
Mhm.
and make a musical out of it. That takes real talent. That takes an understanding of both those genres. But they're not genre flippers because, as you said, they're going on at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. And I know we get onto our main topic, but all of them, the Buffy was the best one. And
Yeah, Buffy is the best one. And that's because he has this clear love of musicals. And he's been, Joss Whedon is a grown-up theater kid.
yeah, but he's also just got the talent. I mean, the folks who did Strange New Worlds, I forget what their names are, but they'd had experience in musicals before, so they were pros.
Yeah.
But Buffy's better.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of it is frankly, the lyrics. The lyrics when you're trying to write something that is part of an ongoing story, which is the only reason, um, you know, it, they don't quite, including the Buffy one, they don't quite make it as standalone musicals, in my opinion, is that they are still having to forward a plot that started before this episode and will continue after the episode. So some of that music is standalone music.
Yeah.
You need that context, but you're sort of shackled into that a little bit. But But still, he was just better at it. He was just a better
Yeah.
musician. Yeah,
Yeah, it was really good. It was you know, kind of groundbreaking. I don't think he was the first one to do a musical episode
no, I
because
think
you had Cop Rock before that.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. God. Um, so what do you think? Is it time to take a big bite here on jump into one that was actually lower on my list, but it's a doozy. Bet
Let's
it's
do
on
it.
your list. Parasite.
It's not on my list. It
Oh.
was one I considered, but it's not on my list. That's a great movie, though. I had no expectations going into that movie, and I left with a jaw on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, it was terrific. Well, I mean, the way it runs and it's a very big movie. I don't want to go into it and be one of the many people who bisects and triceps um uh Parasite because I don't really need to. But, it starts off as very light, very sort of almost not not a heist movie, but almost has that vibe to it. But light, kind of comic, and then it goes horror on you very
Yeah.
quickly when you find out about the person living in the basement, and it gets very dark very quickly. And I think there's more of a smoother transition than that than in a lot of movies where it flips on its head. But I still think it probably belongs in there because those are pretty different movies. And you could
Oh,
even
it made every list I saw online.
what's that?
It made every list of genre flippers I saw online.
Okay, yeah, looking online is what made me decide to include it because I got my seven and I was like,
Yeah.
I need an eighth, and I'm looking around and I'm like, Parasite. Okay, I'm
Oh, it
going.
definitely belongs on that list. It's just not the one that I chose to
Uh-huh.
talk about. And it's one of the
Well,
best examples of recent genre flippers.
yeah. Well, what's another one you chose?
I want to talk about Nope.
Nope.
I think Nope is a little bit on the bubble, but I'm going to make the argument it's not.
Hmm.
Nope starts out as kind of your standard UFO picture. Oh my God, we have this UFO. Is it killed my dad. People and horses have been disappearing. It starts out kind of just as your average everyday UFO movie,
Hmm.
and gradually it becomes a nature documentary because, and we have to talk about this, the big switch, the big Jordan Peele take on the UFO movie is that it's not aliens who are sentient and have human style intelligence. It's just a predatory animal on the hunt.
Yeah, just a big predator, right?
And that's a really innovative idea
Mhm.
for a UFO movie. And I think it really changes it. I think it changes it from, hey, we want to document this alien thing to, holy shit, how are we going to survive it?
Hmm.
And it's two different kinds of horror. It's horror, it goes from science fiction horror to man versus nature horror.
Hmm.
So it draws a lot from the typical, giant ant, giant scorpion, giant frog movie, but it doesn't start out that way.
It's true.
Um, and what I love about it is he really flips the cowboy hero on its head. And I would argue he doesn't flip the cowboy hero on its head. I would say he brings it back to the reality of cowboys. And I grew up in Texas, and people out there should know, and we barely knew it in Texas when we were kids growing up, but most cowboys were black and Hispanic. The vast majority of them, when you put those two groups together, that was most cowboys.
Mhm.
Being a cattle driver was not, it was kind of like actor in the 17th century. You were a cattle driver if you didn't know anything else to do. It
Mhm.
was a very low social status kind of employment. And uh, but he really brings that out to forward with this character, this Kaluuya. He's really kind of turns into the cowboy defending his home and his ranch.
Hmm.
And I think this one qualifies. I think it goes from standard science fiction, oh my God, alien invasion movie to holy crap, this thing is a predator and it's an apex predator. And how the hell are we going to survive this?
Yeah,
So
I
I
enjoyed
think
that.
they're both science fiction movies, but I think it's too kind. Well, I guess that's an argument against it.
No, it depends. It really does.
So
Some
that
movies
one
are
to me,
close.
I
I think
think
it's
I
like
had a lot of
Psycho
drama.
that they're the flip are two different movies that are, drama to slasher. They're pretty close. So you could say
Yeah.
one slasher is a subset of drama. So I think it's okay to ride that line a little bit.
Yeah. But I do. I'm going to tell you, I think it's really it's a, it's very finely on the line.
Mhm.
You know, it's like Nigel Tufnell said, or was it David St. Hubbins, a Spinal Tap, who says, I think it's David St. Hubbins, who says, yeah, it's David St. Hubbins. He says, well, you know, it's a fine line between stupid and clever.
Mhm.
So I think that's the case here. I love that movie. Uh, I might like that movie better than even Get Out.
Oh, I thought you meant Spinal Tap for a minute.
Hmm.
I was
No, I
like,
love that
well, they're
movie.
awfully close for me too.
All
But
right,
anyways.
you got another one?
Yeah. Hey, look at that. I'm down to my last four. This is awesome. We're doing all right. I've got a completely different way to approach the idea of genre flipping. This one sort of stands out. It's unique in that well, I'll just tell you, it's District 9. And
That one's on my list. I mean, it's not on my list here, but that was one I really considered. I
yeah,
love this movie.
District 9 does not flip genres in the sense that we're talking about. It flips genres in the movie making style. It starts off as a found footage movie, which
Yep.
is, that is a definitive style of movie. And by the end of it, you're eased into a traditional drama.
Yeah.
And I can't think of another movie that does that. And it is a genre shift. It is a complete genre shift, but
Oh, yeah,
again, in a
definitely.
different way than we're talking about it here. But
Well, the movie he followed that up with kind of is too.
wait. Don't tell me. Was that the Matt Damon one?
No, 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 never mind. No, it's a different movie. What is the name of that movie? Um,
God, what's the Matt Damon one? Now I'm dying here. I gotta check. I can't stand it. What was I know this is boring to have to listen to if you're listening, but hear me typing into Google or Chat GPT, but by God, I have to know.
Chappie.
What's that?
Chappie.
Oh, Chappie. That's not what I was thinking of. That's
Chappie's an interesting movie.
hmm It is
Have you seen
interesting.
it?
I have seen it. Yeah, it was more interesting than it seemed like it should have been.
I think this might be a genre flipper.
Hmm. Hmm.
Starts out as hey, look at this AI robot I made, and ends up as a full-blown crime movie.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
It ends up as a full-blown caper movie where they stole the robot and realized that the criminals who steal the robot realize they don't steal him. I guess he just kind of shows up there and ends up with them. They realize that he's as much of a humanoid as anybody else, and they do whatever they can to defend him.
Mhm.
So that one might be on the bubble, but I think there's a case to be made that Chappie is yeah, he's stolen. Yeah, that's right. Um, yeah, I kind of think that might work because it turns into a crime investigation movie
Mhm.
about a robot that's sentient.
Yeah, okay. Oh,
So
and just so this is not one, neither of us would say this, but just because it was driving me crazy, The Matt Damon movie by Neil Blomkamp was Elysium. So
Elysium, yeah.
got it out of my system. We can move on now. Um, who just threw out one? Was it you or me?
You did, and I've got a good one I like.
Okay, go for it.
This is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Ooh.
It's a Luc Besson movie, La Femme Nikita.
Now, is that a genre flipper? That one
Yep.
you're gonna have to sell me on.
Okay. So La Femme Nikita starts out, and the main character, Anne Pario, she's a just a drug addict in a gang, and they're going to rob a cemetery. I mean, a pharmacy. One of the gang members' dad's pharmacy. It goes wrong, and everybody ends up dead except her. And she brutally murders a cop at point blank range. And they knock her out, and she wakes up, and she's in a prison. And this guy walks up and says, "Okay, you got two choices." Said, "You can agree to work for the government, or I'm going to have you executed right now." And then the movie begins to follow her training as an assassin for the French government. Well, she has to take a cover, and she works as a sleeper agent for the French government. And so they set her up in an apartment and they give her a crappy job. And every once in a while, they have her go off to do some exotic, thrilling spy mission where she's a hit woman. And what happens? She meets a man. She falls in love. She introduces her man to her controller. And then she decides she doesn't want to be a spy anymore. And she runs.
Hmm.
And her man doesn't know where she went, and her controller doesn't know where she went. And that's the end of the movie. And this goes from spy thriller to love story. And it really does. And I'll tell you why. Who do you think the love interest is? Of those two men, who do you think really loves her the most?
I don't know. I need to go back and see the movie again.
It's Bob. It's her controller.
Okay.
And that's why he lets her go.
Problem is, I remember the American version better than the original because I
The
saw.
American version is a little bit different. Do you know there's a Japanese version of this movie?
No, I did not.
It's called Black Cat.
Oh, that's interesting.
But if you haven't seen La Femme Nikita, you need to see it. And not just
Oh,
for
I
the
have
fact that
seen it. It just was a long time ago, and the one I remember because I saw it more recently was I can't even remember the American name one that was called though. What was it called?
it's called Point of No Return.
Right, right. Point of No Return. It had Bridget Fonda, and that just just the one that happened to stick more. I probably was drinking less when I saw it.
But no, that was La Femme Nikita is great, and it's definitely a genre flipper, but it's very subtle. It turns into a big time love story, and it's really a love triangle. It's a love triangle between Bob, her controller, who
Hmm.
pulled her out of this horrible life and made her into a real person, a deadly killer real person, but a real person nonetheless. And her kind of more typical love interest. And he loves her. And she, before she leaves, she comes out and says, "Yeah, I'm not this dumb grocery store cashier. I have a different life that you've never seen.
Hmm.
But I can't protect you in this life, so I'm out." And so it's really a love story, a love triangle at the end between the two of them. And they both decide they're not going to do anything about it when she leaves.
I feel like is there kind of a creepiness to that? Am I remembering
Oh, that movie
kind
is
of
creepy
creepy?
as
Yeah.
hell, especially in regard to the relationship between Bob and Nikita, because Bob is just this master manipulator and she has no choice in the relationship.
Yeah.
But like he comes to have a real love for her at the end. It's just that the mission is more important than the love.
Yeah. The San's stuff with women gets kind of creepy sometimes, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's even creepier when you know his the director's personal history.
Oh, great. Oh, of course, that figures. I almost don't want to know, but based on what I was thinking when I said what I said, I'm not shocked to hear that.
It has to do with the fifth element.
Which is another one like that. What did
Yeah.
he, was he? involved with what did he do in The Fifth Element? Oh Lord. Do I want to know?
No, it has to do with the relationship he had with the woman who played the blue opera singer.
Oh, was it bad? Is this a bad thing?
Yes,
Must
it's
have
really
been.
unacceptable now,
Yeah.
even in France. But in France, when it happened, it was socially acceptable.
Oh well, we'll leave
And
it.
it's kind of the same creepy element you have in the professional.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
But the movie, I think the movie's a masterpiece. I think it's this great. It's a little bit. It, you can tell he had a little bit of trouble in writing the end, but still, I think the movie holds up. I think you watch it
Yeah.
today.
I need to see it again. I need to
It's
wipe
still
the
a
Bridget Fonda one out of my head and see the
good
original.
luck.
Yeah.
Good luck, because it was not released on DVD.
Oh, that's rough. Well, it's probably piratable. I'll take a look. I'll find
Hold on
it.
a minute.
Are you checking?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. While you're doing that, I'll
Well,
keep.
I would like to own a copy of this movie, but I have tried and tried and tried.
Mhm.
Wow, actually, it's made its way to Amazon, Apple, and Fandango at home.
Well, there you go. You're a winner. Ding, ding, ding.
Uh, I'm not gonna rent it.
You
I'm
want to
not gonna
own
pay
it.
Amazon or Apple $3 or $4.
You want to own it or nothing.
I want to own it. I don't want to buy it. I mean, I don't want to rent it. I want to own
Right
it.
on.
And let me just tell you, I don't own movies.
Hmm.
I own uh, all the seasons of Buffy, all the seasons of Angel, all the seasons of Firefly. I own Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Hmm.
I own Veronica Mars. That sentence doesn't make any sense because nobody owns Veronica Mars. Um, uh, and I own Battlestar Galactica.
Mm.
That's all I have.
Yeah. We could do a whole Battlestar Galactica episode sometime. I mean,
We could
especially
do a series
combine
of
the two,
episodes about that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody out there doing a podcast only about
All
Battlestar
about it.
Galactica.
Yeah, that's totally true.
And I'm telling you, I liked the 78 version when it first came out. It is nothing compared to the Ronald Moore version.
No, but it's on my list of right-wing sci-fi we're going to talk about sometime, and I'll explain why then. I won't talk
Oh,
about
that'll be good.
yeah.
So,
Um,
but yeah, La Femme Nikita, and this is a great movie. Other people, I saw it in the theater, and anybody who's listening to this that's interested, definitely go see this movie. It is a Besson sets a tone, and part of this is due to his main composer, Eric Serra. He has a very distinct style of music, and it really sets the tone for all his films. And this is a really great spy movie, but I do think it turns into a love story. And you know what? It's not the only spy movie that turns into a love story.
yeah, that's done for sure. Yeah.
All
So,
righty, what's your next one?
well, you queued up what did you say you owned? Scott Pilgrim versus the World, right? So you queued
Yes.
up Edgar Wright. So should we go into the Cornetto trilogy, the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy?
Yeah, because every one of those is a genre flipper.
Yeah, the one I wanted to focus on just because I saw it the most recently was The World's End, which I
Yeah.
adore, where it's this, folks from high school reunion working out their issues. That's a whole genre of movie in and of itself. And then, the town they grew up in has been taken over by aliens. So
Yep.
the movie completely flips in that way. I mean, you could argue that Hot Fuzz does even more.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's as clean a flip with Shaun of the Dead, but it's still, these movies need to get mentioned. They flip, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like those movies, and I love Edgar Wright in general. Um, One of the most creative people out there
Oh,
uh, for
absolutely.
film
It's
for film
sad that
production.
we never got to see what his Ant-Man would have looked like. Um, it's that was a really important project to him for a while, but in a sense, it's his own fault that it didn't get made because he was taking too long with it. And by the time he got around to doing it, the MCU was firmly in place and it was going to be an MCU movie. And he said, no, I can't do that. And so it was sad. But you can tell little bits of Edgar Wright that remained in the first
Yeah.
Ant-Man script. There's little tiny little tendrils there that were still there. But anyways, I digress.
Um, I mentioned that Japanese version of the La Femme Nikita. You know how I found that movie?
Yeah.
This is why I really don't like that we've made the complete change to streaming only. I found that in a Blockbuster in the foreign movie section.
The old days.
And Blockbuster was great for that because whoever was buying their movies for the foreign film section, they had amazing movies in those sections.
Mhm.
I mean, stuff that you never would have had a chance to see before. Do Netflix, do Netflix and Hulu, do they even have a foreign film section anymore?
I don't think it's a section. No, I just think it's all mixed up together.
Yeah. And, you know, I have to say the history of um, streaming uh, original programming
Hmm.
is very mixed.
Oh yeah, and part of that's just the pure quantity of it, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. I think they set up this system where they have to fill thousands of hours of content, and they didn't want to pay the studios to do it, so they
Mhm.
did their own. But I think there's a lot of trash on Netflix and Hulu.
There is, but there's also the flip side of that is there are so many gems that no one is ever going to see because they
Right?
get lost in the din. It's really,
Or they cancel them after one season.
yeah, and that's often because nobody saw them because they got lost, right?
Yeah, there's too much of it.
Yeah.
So, it just used to be great because you could walk into a Blockbuster, and if it was a Blockbuster where anybody was paying attention to the selection at all, you could find these really cool things.
Mhm.
So, all right, I think it's my turn now.
Yeah, go
I'm going to
for it.
talk about a more obvious one. And again, I think this is arguably on the bubble, is Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods. See, now that's interesting because I had that in my list of simultaneous. I wanted to give it a hat tip and I forgot. So tell me how you look at it as a flipper.
It starts out as a typical kind of slasher movie.
Hmm.
There is a little twist on that in that none of these people at the beginning of the movie are the stereotypical jock, brain, virgin combination that you see in these cabin in the woods uh, movies. But they what so the genre flip is from typical slasher to conspiracy theory movie because what we find out in the movie, and if you haven't seen this, it's this movie is too famous and too old to worry about spoiling.
It's
Uh,
it's it's one of my favorite movies. I adore it.
it's a brilliant movie, um, and I think as much credit goes to Tim Minear as it does Joss Whedon.
Hmm.
Uh, but um, I think it goes. What you find out is that really all of these cabin in the woods slasher movies are a method that some shadow government has developed to keep at bay the old ones, a very clear Lovecraftian reference,
Hmm.
who, if you don't kill enough teenagers, will come back and take over the planet, or arguably take over the universe. And I think one of the best parts about this movie is taking Whitley Bradford, the guy that everybody knew from West Wing,
Yeah.
Josh, and making him this evil guy. Um, but it basically is one of those movies that lifts the veil on what people think is a conventional art form and says, no, 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 this is not just psycho killers. This is actually a manipulation of human experience to satisfy the gods who need a sacrifice. And Uh, and you know what makes me say this is a genre flipper from horror movie to conspiracy theory movie is, uh, you know, all of the like the blonde girl in the party before it, she's not a big slut.
Hmm.
And then, of course, they use gas to change all their personalities so they fit the stereotypes of one of these movies by the end.
Hmm.
You know, uh, Hemsworth, and I think it's Chris
Yeah.
Hemsworth is in this
Yeah.
movie, and he's not your typical jock, make fun of the nerd, give everybody a hard time at the beginning. At
Right.
the end, he turns into this macho alpha male incel Republican and ends up dead.
Not an incel Republican, a
Yeah,
foot.
I know he's not an incel, but it's just those guys are two different classes of the
Yeah.
same person. One has just been lucky enough to get off the video game console and get successful with a woman. The incel version is the guys who never quit playing Call of Duty.
Right, right. There you go.
Anyway, that's enough of my prejudice.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I put that on the bubble and I decided it was off the bubble just because those two storylines were kind of happening simultaneously, but it was so close for me. I just didn't
for
quite.
me, it's the conspiracy part that
Mhm.
there's this shadow organization that only the people in the agency preventing this apocalypse um, know exactly what's going on, and everybody else is just completely manipulated by circumstance into these roles and into their deaths too.
Mhm.
So, for me, it goes over the line. For you, it's back. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of, uh, I think it's, uh, I think it's a judgment call here.
Yeah. Regardless, it's a great movie. Great movie. See it if you haven't. Big fun. Very fun.
And I would say that if you're interested in screenwriting, I think it's one of the best structured movies out there.
Hmm. Yeah, can see that. And a problem that Whedon has sometimes, if you're gonna give him a problem here, is he tends to slip into giving his parts too much of the same voice. He's not as extreme as some, but he's got that sort of signature wit that slips out into all his characters and they can sound a little similar. So that's the only critique I would make on him in general, but you really don't see that at all in this movie. It's not there.
No, you don't.
Mhm.
There might be a little bit of that in the the two guys who are part of that agency. There might be a little bit of that in the Whitley Bradford guy.
Yeah, but they just seem like they're similar guys. So that
That's
that
true.
that totally works for me. That didn't bother me.
Yeah, and the biggest place where that's a criticism is this really quippy dialogue he puts in the mouths of 15-year-olds in Buffy.
Yeah, of course, the big place he gets the criticism is for the MCU. That's where people
Oh
dogpile
yeah,
him
yeah,
for
yeah,
that
yeah.
poor guy. Feel kind of bad for him because I don't think it's as bad as everybody makes it out to be.
Well, on the flip side of this, I think really the good part of that is he does a lot to establish the kind of repartee the Avengers have with each other.
Oh yeah.
And I think that carries out in all the movies. I think when you get to the Russo brothers, they're still carrying out the same kind of parameters for character humor and how they all do humor differently. I
Yeah.
mean, even in the, even in the later films, uh, like one, I think the best place where that Whedon humor shows up is really with the code names Tony Stark has for every different Avenger, right? So,
Right.
like in the scene where Chris Hemsworth is trying to gain control of a computer, and he
Mm.
says, "Strongest Avenger," and the computer basically says, "You're not Bruce Banner." And
Although that
finally,
wasn't Whedon, but yeah, the same. It was set up. Yeah.
well, that's what I'm saying is
Mhm.
that's not Whedon, but
Mhm.
I think he sets the tone for that with
Yeah.
the snappy dialogue he wrote for each individual character.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
And I think that was a bonus to that.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, that was fun.
But yes, and then where he really fails in that is when he tries to do it in the Justice League movie.
Yeah, the Justice League movie was just kind of a hot mess, but
It was a hot mess no matter who did it.
yeah, yeah.
Zack Snyder's version is way too long and way too dark.
Yeah, and way too pompous and pretentious
And Whedon's version is too light, too quick-witted, not serious enough.
well, and too much of a smush with with the original that had
Yeah,
been
yeah.
already started to be filmed. It just they tried to put too, it was oil and water, didn't work.
Yep.
Anyways, that's certainly the general.
Okay, so I think you've got one more, right?
I've got two more. I'll throw you one and then you throw me one. I've got two I want to mention. One to me is the ultimate genre flipper, but before that, I'm just going to give a brief shout out to Dark City, the
Man, that's a great movie.
Proyas movie. Yeah, yeah, I feel like that's a good genre flipper because it really starts out, sort of film noir. You got somebody with amnesia, and there's a murder, and what the hell is going on? And the police are coming to investigate. And yeah, then it's not long before you're in total sci-fi, and the whole universe you're in is a false one. And
Yeah.
it's came out shortly before The Matrix, and there's a lot of obvious comparisons to make between it and The Matrix. They're really different movies. But in some ways, I actually still think that Dark City is superior. Not in all ways, but in some ways, I think it's a superior movie, and nobody saw it.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
if you, it's I say, if you've seen The Matrix and everybody did see that, you'll go into it thinking, oh, well, some of this, I don't know. But I think Dark City came out first. I might be wrong about that. And it's a completely different story anyways. It's as different as it could be. But yeah, it's a great sci-fi movie, but it starts off very, very deeply, almost over the top film noir style movie. And but yeah, it's a great flick.
It is. It's a really good movie. The only thing that bothered me about it is it's got that David Fincher. Can you guys turn up the lighting a little bit thing going on? And of course,
Well, it is
you
called
have to have
Dark.
that in a movie called Dark City.
Yeah, right.
But still, it's like, God, I can't see anything in this movie. And of course, that's the same thing as in Seven. Even in Seven, even the broad daylight scenes are like brought down six shades of whatever color they're in. Um, and that's just a me problem. So, um,
Great flick, though. Great flick.
yeah, it really is. And if you haven't seen this, see it. And for me, even though I think her part could be written better, I think if you're the kind of person who thinks Jennifer Connelly is not a good actress, you haven't seen this movie. She's really good in this movie.
Yeah. And she makes my heart go pitter patter every time I was young. Oh my
Well,
God.
that I think that's true of almost anyone who sees her,
Yeah.
regardless of gender. But
I swoon.
so it makes you want to be what's his name? Her husband, the guy who played Vision.
Oh, are they married?
Yeah,
No way. It's got to be a big.
yeah. They met on the set of A Beautiful Mind
Oh, why can't I
because
think of his name right now?
he played Russell Crowe's uh, Figment.
Oh, Paul Bettany.
Yeah, Paul Bettany.
Right, right, right. Okay. Should have known that. I feel self-conscious that I didn't, but whatever.
Yeah,
They're
they're married.
on the MCU. Um, so you got a couple more for us, right? That you wanted
I
to.
got one
Okay,
because
one. We'll do the ones then.
we kind of uh talked about two on the list at the same time with me. We talked about Psycho and The Virgin Spring. All
Oh,
right. This, I think, is the ultimate genre flipper. Clint Eastwood movie, $1 Million Baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me tell you this. If you're a fan of standard sports movies, do not, under any circumstances, go see this movie
Yeah.
because you will end up in abject tears.
I had this movie spoiled for me.
Ugh.
I got the whole story given to me, and before I saw it, and so I didn't see it because I felt like I know what the movie's about, even though I know it's supposed to be really good and I should see it anyways. But I have very detailed knowledge of the story, unfortunately. And yes, oh, clearly, absolutely. And it's
So, for those of you who've not seen this movie, this starts out as a standard underdog sports movie.
right.
Hilary Swank plays a girl who wants to learn how to box, and Morgan Freeman and Clint Eastwood are the owners of a gym, and they say no, 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 no. Okay, finally, she's so persistent. Let's train her and get out of her hair. They train her up. They train her up. They train her up. They train her up. She goes to her first fight, incredible success. Goes to her second fight, incredible success. Goes to her next fight, and let me just tell you, it goes from sports movie to absolute melodrama.
Melodrama.
Yeah, this movie will rip your guts out.
Right. That's what everybody said about it. That's the person who couldn't shut up about it and told me all about it said,
I
uh,
don't care. I don't care if you think you are hardcore. This movie will make you cry.
yeah, I need to go see that.
It will tear you to pieces.
Can't believe I
So if you do not like sad movies, do not, under any circumstances, go see $1 Million Baby. It is, I am not going to spoil this for you because if you're interested, go, I mean, and it's a brilliant movie. Eastwood directs, Eastwood acts. Morgan Freeman is, well, he's Morgan Freeman. Uh, Hilary Swank, shout out to Buffy, her first film role is in the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer film. It's also, did you know that's also Ben Affleck's first movie?
no, I had no idea.
He plays a
Oh,
basketball
really? His
player.
first movie? His, huh, okay.
He plays a basketball player.
Huh.
He's not listed in the credits, and you only see him for a quarter of a second. But that's the first movie he ever appeared in. Of
Oh,
course, um, the big thing for him, of course, was
with Good Will
Good Will
Hunting.
Hunting.
Yeah, of course.
He was also in one of my favorite movies of all time, Chasing Amy.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's a loud movie. But yeah, this movie, it really, really turns into uh, something completely different
Yeah.
about three-quarters of the way through the movie.
I say I had that movie wrecked for me, but as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh yeah. Oh
I
boy.
mean, all the movies we talked about, I think this is the best example of a movie goes, yeah, you think you know what movie this is? Ha, psych. Now it's a different movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is really, it's great, but it's the kind of movie that you want to see once.
Well, my last one is another another one of a totally different kind of movie, but does make you go like what just happened here? And that's From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was kind of at the top of everybody's movies,
Yeah,
everybody's list that I
Rodriguez. Have you
found.
seen it?
Have I seen it? Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You have. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting for a number of reasons. It's got Quentin Tarantino in it as an actor, which is pretty cool actually. But I again, spoilers, I guess. We talk about spoilers a lot, but George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, brothers, they're criminals. They kidnap a family where the father is Harvey Keitel. If I remember right, he's some kind of minister. I didn't check this before because I haven't seen it in years. And they go on the run, and the family's hostages, and Tarantino seems like really creepy. Oh, well, he does anyway, or sorry. But he's got eyes on the daughter, played by what's her name? And anyways, it's this whole sort of psychological crime drama thing. They get over to the border to Mexico. Clooney and Tarantino's characters are psyched that they got away from the law. They've promised the family they're going to let them go. And then they stop at this bar, and the bar is full of vampires. And just all of a sudden, you're in a vampire movie and you're
Yeah,
watching this movie. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, what the hell just happened?
yeah.
You've got Salma
Well,
Hayek and a whole crew of vampires, and then they're fighting vampires and see who lives and who dies and all this. It just, it's a different movie. And anyways, it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it.
um, uh, what was I going to say about this movie? I got a couple of things to say about this movie. Um, One, this was a major, 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 major departure for Clooney.
Yeah, well,
This
yeah.
was not really the kind of movies he was making.
Well, it was back when he was still trying to find his feet on what kind of movies, because he was coming out of being a TV guy.
Right,
And he
right,
did a
right.
little bit of different stuff because he was trying to find his footing.
Yeah, yeah. So I knew something was up here when they talked about the name of Salma Hayek's character.
I don't remember what it was.
Satanico Pandemonium.
Oh, right,
I
right.
went,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
something is going to be different here.
yeah, that's a pretty good sign. Yeah.
That was a big old red flag. Of course, most people I know didn't notice that because Salma Hayek dancing. But yeah,
So she,
um,
she was distracting, is what you're saying.
yeah, that was a giant distraction for most people I know. Um, Also, this movie and what's the other one?
Another one, or another.
No, there's another movie that Quentin Tarantino acts in. I
Oh,
can't think of the name of.
wonder what
Um,
that is. Have I seen it?
Hold on, I'm thinking about it here.
Checking? Go check. I'll check too while you're checking. We'll just make, like I say, it's annoying as hell.
Planet Terror.
Well, wait. Oh, Planet Terror. Right. Well, he directed one of those in there.
He directed Death Proof.
Right, right,
Robert
right.
Rodriguez, the director of
Rodriguez
Dusk Till
again.
Dawn,
Yeah.
did Planet Terror.
Hmm.
Tarantino acts in that movie. And
Right.
between Dusk Till Dawn and Planet Terror, those are great examples where directors need to stay behind the camera. He is a terrible actor. He is awful.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah, but he's awful.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why that makes it so fun is it becomes really campy with him in it.
Yes.
And I don't think anybody's supposed to take either one of these movies seriously.
No, no, no. I mean, they were
But
great, great movies. A lot of fun, but I don't think they were meant to be taken seriously.
yeah, no, and because of that, it's easy to dismiss how bad an actor he is. But Tarantino is really, really bad actor. He picked the right profession because if he hadn't chosen screenwriter slash director, he would not be in Hollywood anymore. He'd be toast.
Yeah, probably true.
Yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn was that's the one that's the number one on almost every list I saw online.
That's the
But
one. That's the one that really inspired me to um, want to talk about this because I just remember when it came out, and like I said, I was just what the hell. Yeah, so that's just too much fun. Too much fun. Um,
hey, I think we did a pretty good job on this topic. I think it was pretty interesting.
we did it. Yeah, we got through. And you know what? I'm gonna just do the thing you're supposed to do with podcasts, not do any editing. I'm gonna post this as it is. So this is insight, folks, into what we sound like when we just have the conversation and I don't go in and chop out the long pauses. So
Well,
uh,
I think it was really cool though that we kind of figured out the first one,
we,
Wizard of Oz,
oh yes, yes. No, I'm so glad you brought that up. That
because
was
I think that needs to go to the top of every list
mhm,
just because it was the first one.
yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. And it's amazing that, like I said, I checked the lists online when I could only come up with seven and I wanted to come up with eight. And I didn't see it on any. I didn't see it
It's
mentioned.
not on any list
Yeah.
anywhere. But I think Wizard of Oz is the ultimate genre flipper. And I think that might ought to be that might need to be the thumbnail you use.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, this is lots of fun this time. We'll see you in a couple weeks where I think we're going to talk about apocalypti, and that'll be
Yeah,
fun
and
too.
I've really been trying to dig deep here. I heard of a movie just the other day, a British apocalypse movie that's made in like 53 or something. And I thought, wow, that's kind of early for an apocalypse movie.
All right. Well, that's your trailer for next week right there, folks. Tune in and we'll see you then.
All right, y'all have a good time. Thanks for listening to us.
Our theme music is by Christopher Piatek.